baby Sega Saturn 9mm. Mother Mary had a dad and it beat her. Now they're in the street just looking for blood. Vampires in my neighborhood.
No bones about it. Halloween is my Christmas. It's my absolute favorite time of year. A time where creativity, superstition, and imagination runs absolutely wild. And there's also a plethora of Halloween and horror-themed video games to talk about. Most of them which have either been done before or talked to death, so I'm gonna have to do some searching, try and seem a little bit original here. Yeah, Resident Evil's been done to death. Silent Hill, same record. Castlevania, too predictable! Gotta admit, I'm having a little bit of a tricky time here. Maybe I'm not thinking hard enough.
How's about thinking outside the flesh?
I got skeletons in my house now? Who are you?
Who I am is unimportant. The name is Skullvester, you miserable fleshy biped. There, you're happy?
You're right, I guess I should be a little bit nicer, but the last couple of visitors I have were really annoying. But you say you've got a game for me, so what do you have?
Apology accepted, and yes, I agree. Also, if you truly want something that'll put your senses on end, why not give this a try? I give you Mr. Bones!
Oh, Mr. Bones, I used to love this game. I haven't played this in ages. Good call.
Then let's have at it!
It was released in 1996 exclusively for the Sega Saturn, and it still ranks as one of the most unique and ambitious titles on the console. Not many people paid attention to it at the time of its release, leaving it to fall very quickly into the bowels of obscurity. Why? Because people wanted a Sonic the Hedgehog game and didn't pay attention to the other charming games that may not have had the marketable characters but offered significantly more satisfying gameplay. No, everybody wanted Sonic Extreme, a game that was so cool it never got released. I'm sad now.
Listen to an angry Sonic message board, please. Stay on topic. Mr. Bones' most idiosyncratic qualities, that unlike most other games up to this point, is its very multi-genre approach. Many various elements were incorporated that composes the 20 levels in Mr. Bones.
It's not exclusively a platform game, so going in with that kind of conventional mindset, you're going to be introduced into a world of hurt. Starts in glorious full-motion video and blue-screen effects. Dalgulian, the main antagonist of the game, looks to have the ability to potentially control the undead through the craft of evil skeletism. One individual, our titular hero, is purely good at heart and does not succumb to having his free will stripped. So, did you happen to be there as well?
What's that supposed to mean?
Well, nothing. I was just saying...
No. Let's mind. Because you and your little statement there says a lot about you.
I wasn't being hurtful. I was only...
You're saying that all skeletons like to conjure together and propagate evil? Is that it? Is that what's in your eyes? Low-level minion?
Oh, I'm sorry. I just had a punchline.
Oh, a punchlines. Come on, then. Let's hear it, funny man.
I was just going to say all those skeletons there and you still had no body to go with.
Unsubscribe. All of you, unsubscribe to this monster.
In regards to the visuals, a lot of the backgrounds, the foregrounds, and enemies in certain stages are pre-rendered. Mr. Bones himself is a 3D model. It creates a very interesting aesthetic that would be indicative of the time period to come where three-dimensional character models traversed upon hand-drawn or designed backgrounds. Earlier notable titles integrating this method includes things like Resident Evil and Loaded, to name a few. However, there are points where it gets a little bit difficult to judge where it's safe to jump on during stages that call for more platform puzzle leaping, due to rather obscure or muddy objects that can be mistaken for back or foreground fodder. It's really hard to be sure. I find myself hopping around a lot on various branches and ledges, just experimenting with what I can land atop or grab. It's rather hard to consider it a knock, since the mark of a decent platform jumping is being able to easily navigate where it is you're going. But then again, Mr. Bones doesn't play by those set of rules, so is it fair to judge it based off of that premise, or is it being just a tad bit picky?
I think what my colleague is trying to say is he's rather inept and refuses to take his time. You just have to observe, chap. Decipher. Use your deductive powers. You're capable with seeing with more than just your eyes.
Is that how you do it, since you don't have eyes, just use like echolocation?
Skeleton, don't know. I have a prescription for contacts, you sinewy, empty-headed troglodyte.
It's not a visual powerhouse by any means. It's got that patented Sega Saturn muddiness to it, but where it lacks in the visual department, it certainly makes up for it by providing something very different with each stage. Big Bones, in particular, is one of my favorites. It's pretty surreal. Each time you collect another part, the camera pulls back to reveal you've been bouncing on your own skull this entire time. That's pretty cool. Also spliced in between the gameplay are full-motion video cutscenes.
What can you do in this world? You can't even love in this world.
It's not amazingly sharp, and some of the muddiness really shows. That underwater level is a total pain, since it's incredibly obscure and unforgiving about collision detection, but I give it points for some originality, with some macabre, cartoonish Addams Family-like charm to it without going super overboard, and the full-motion video, that bumps its visual score up to a 7.2.
Oh, there go all my bones.
As stated earlier, there are more ways to solve puzzles with just your eyes. It also includes sound. Portions of Mr. Bones includes timing via rhythm-based puzzles, making this, to my knowledge, the first video game ever to incorporate this style. The clues as to what you have press aren't guided by on-key visual arrows like Dance Dance Revolution or Hatsune Miku's Project Diva games. By late guitarist Ronnie Montrose, a 40-year vet in the business. He got his start in the early 70s and had performed for 4 decades, and that includes 10 solo albums, 4 studio albums with the band Gamma, his own band Montrose that featured vocals by Sammy Hagar, and he's also did session work with the Neville brothers Van Morrison and Dan Hartman. He passed away in 2010, but he's left behind a legacy and is considered one of the most influential guitarists in the music industry.
Montrose himself plays the role of the blind guitarist that you meet in the woods.
Is someone out there? Who are you? What do you want? No, I know someone's out there. Either come inside or be on your way.
How does that thing do that? It would make that pretty noise.
What, have you been dead for 50 years? It's called a guitar, son. Why don't you try one on for size? Don't think about it. Just play it. There you go.
Sounds like I'm back in serious jelly.
Are you messing with the Goulian?
The Goulian?
The crumbs.
Yes, sir, we are missing.
You'd better hang on to that guitar. It might come in handy.
Thanks. Later on.
The word bones in the upper right-hand corner of the screen indicates your health bar. Naturally, it depletes the more damage you take. As you get hit, you notice that limbs and even your torso will begin to fall apart. By rapidly tapping A and using skeletism, you can put yourself back together, providing the proper limbs are available. You'll still be able to get around if you're missing parts, and additional bones are scattered throughout should you lose some. Oh, but it gets trickier. No bones about it.
Okay, I'll let that one slide.
Well, thanks for letting me get that rib in.
I can have you killed. They'll never find the body.
Even if you have a full skeletal system, should your health bar be too low, the higher the jumps or the fall means a higher chance of falling apart when you land. The skeletism you charge by tapping A holds your body together so as long as it stays full, but that doesn't guarantee you're out of danger. Finding blue butterflies and skulls to regenerate your health is very, very key. The platform portions, as mentioned earlier, feel a little more akin to a rotoscope puzzle game like Out of This World or Prince of Persia. Trying to play these with a conventional mindset like a Super Mario Bros. 3 is asking for trouble. Even the very first stage feels a bit like a beginner's trap. No rules are particularly established, but only because I think it would make the objectives a little too easily. Rather, you eventually figure out what you have to do, like avoiding the enemy skeletons. Fear not, for the knowledge you retain here will come in handy later. I mentioned the Big Bone stage early on, which is a balance game combining the elements of like Super Breakout or Pong. Progress further by collecting the bones as the difficulty escalates. It can be pretty exhilarating, but also frustrating. You will die a lot, by rule of law, but you can always go back to the level select screen and pick up where you left off, even if the game is one hit and game over. The true test comes from, and I'm sorry to say this, getting good.
Good? You actually dropped a get good? You actually told people to get good. Can I drop a YOLO while you're at it?
Yeah, I know, it physically hurts to actually say that, but getting good is the utmost importance of this game, especially since so many challenges are so varied. It's not the same game for 2 levels in a row, so you really do have to practice and hone those skills, otherwise you get absolutely nowhere.
Your primary offensive attack is a short to intermediate plasma beam. Its range isn't impressive, and attacking while jumping is very difficult to say the least. But it does track whatever it hits, so as long as you hold down the B button. This can also be powered up briefly via skeletism. Bear in mind, the lower your health, the weaker the beam becomes.
I do believe in my heart of hearts that it's more than just the controls being stiff or aging poorly. There's only a few select areas that I think that applies. The skill involved in Mr. Bones is akin to something like ring tosses, billiards, or bowling. The failure mounts up early on, but the more patience and dedication it takes, the sooner you begin to feel yourself improve in the areas necessary to prevail. Except for that damn underwater stage. But for the excellent music, I scored an 8.5 and the controls, a solid 7.5. It takes a little bit of time to learn this game's set of rules, but it's no Sonic the Hedgehog or Mario, so when you're going that far out of the box, I think you deserve some points for originality. So suffice it to say, I think the replay value is going to be very high. You'll be playing it a lot so that you can improve. Heck, I was playing this game for nearly 2 months and I still couldn't really beat it. I wanted to complete it for the sake of this review, but I'd be playing it until next Halloween.
Certainly not for the faint of heart, and it's much tougher than a paltry, insane remastering of an outdated, failed mascot.
Now hold on a second, you attacked me for talking about Sonic the Hedgehog, now you're sitting here ruining...
No names mentioned!
It really is too bad that this game faded into obscurity. I consider it a standout exclusive on the Saturn, and it's certainly worth owning. The character's charming and very likable, the music is fantastic, and its very difficulty makes it either an intense test of your gaming wits, or a hair-pulling nightmare.
like they used to. Good thing I've got a sense of humor. Situation like this could be downright depressing.
You know, in hindsight, I'm not really sure why I picked this game for a Halloween-themed episode. It's not particularly spooky, but I just wanted an excuse to talk about it. But if you're looking for an interesting and unique title that stands out from most of the games in your collection, or if you just like collecting Sega Saturn games, which there's nothing wrong with that, I highly recommend Mr. Bones. I give it an 8.1 out of 10. It's certainly worth every penny I've played for it, and I think it's worth playing. So, in case... What are you doing?
It's been a long time. I'm seeing if I'm capable of producing evil skeletism.
That's right. In accordance with my master's wishes, I have hijacked your show, manifested the power to destroy it, along with the rest of the internet. Kneel in agony, mere mortal. Now prepare to pay the ultimate price.
Sorry, I can't break a 20.
You have problems. Thank you everyone for watching the first ever Kinda Fancy Halloween special review. If you enjoyed this, please hit that thumbs up, or dislike it if this boorish nitwit was too annoying for his own good. And if you're looking for a marathon of spooktacular game reviews, you'll enjoy Ramblin' Review at Fountain Arcade Blogspot in the link below. A monster and horror themed review every day throughout the month of October. Enjoy! That's not how it works, you nincompoop. You're supposed to drink while I'm talking.